lot of good things are painful. You know, like playing StarCraft. StarCraft is good. Playing it's a little painful. Especially if you're like a high-level Protoss right now. Might be a little painful sometimes. Playing the big tournaments. This guy knows it well. In the upper right-hand corner of Alcyone, we have Classic in the red, playing for the Twisted Minds. And he is up against our blue Terran player. In the lower left for Cloud9, it's GuMiho. Now, GuMiho, big fan favorite. Everybody loves GuMiho. I love GuMiho. Classic, honestly, is also kind of a fan favorite. You know, the chin toss. We love him. But GuMiho's been struggling in this matchup lately. He's not had a good time in TVP. I think in the big tournaments he does okay in it because he has like time to prepare some sick builds and some cheeky builds. And also, you know, once he gets to the higher levels of a tournament, there's not as many Protosses at those big tournaments. So he only has to worry about like a few. But he and Classic hit each other a lot in a lot of these online tournaments, and I feel like GuMiho does not win them very often. So a best of 5 here is going to be a tough one for him against somebody like Classic, who I feel like can just play pretty stock standard and feel pretty confident against GuMiho. We'll see if GuMiho has some cheeky builds he can bust out. This is the kind of tournament where he might have something up his sleeve for it. Even if it's not super cheeky, it might be a little off kilter. And that's a big strength of GuMiho. Those off kilter builds and play styles. So far though, nothing too weird. Classic was, it feels like he was checking for a proxy. I'm not really sure where that probe is going, but no proxies in this game. Kind of expecting a Stargate here out of Classic. But no, it's a Robo. Okay, all right. Classic gonna make this a little bit extra spicy. Usually the Robo opens with like a Warp Prism, gets some aggression going on the opponent. The Adept shades in, kills the SCV building the starport, delays that by a bit, and then just kind of sees what's going on. There's not too much happening in GuMiho's base just yet. But now GuMiho's running across the map before this is done. It's actually an Immortal first out of Classic. I think probably because he saw the Cyclone coming across. It looks like it might be a Cyclone drop here from GuMiho, or he hits the front with the Cyclone, drops the Marines. We shall see. He's going to have a lot of pressure potential at the start of this game. Yeah, Classic's very concerned by what GuMiho's doing. He's not entirely sure what it is, but he's concerned about it. Shield Battery, Immortal, Sentry. He's like, all right, what do we got going on here? He's going into a very fast Robo Bay off the back of this, which I guess makes sense with the Robo first. But it's going to make it a lot harder to deal with like the Medivac here, not having Blink. It's going to be very annoying. Some lock-ons happening, but the Shield Battery are going to keep all of these units healed up. GuMiho then going to pick up and go into the main base with a double Cyclone, where there is no Shield Battery. One Cyclone goes down, though. The Stalker stays alive just barely, and the Marines will go home instead of trying to push in on the Immortal Shield Battery composition. And Classic defends really beautifully. Did he lose anything? No, he didn't lose anything here. He killed the Cyclone. That was the only unit he killed, but to not lose anything at all is really, really nice for Classic. That being said, doesn't have a third base, so makes it a little bit less nice than it could otherwise be. GuMiho going to boost that medevac away, but that's going to leave the Cyclone dead in the water. The medevac dies anyways. So, gets a couple of probes for it, but not too much else. GuMiho's moving across the map again. Got a couple of tanks here. He does have a Raven on the way, but I don't think he's going to get that Interference Matrix upgrade, so won't be able to shut down any Colossi, of which there is one out. Thermal Lance is on the way. Classic, though, trying to tech into the Forge and the Twilight Council, too. So, gonna have to deflect this with just the one Colossus. He's got 2 Immortals, though. GuMiho does not have stim with his army. Oh, man, and the force field beautifully done. Gonna catch a few extra Marines as he sends this pack in. GuMiho's gonna siege up one tank, which the Observer, before it dies, will see. Classic that it's backing up is the wise choice here, at least for now. Ooh, turns back around. GuMiho, gotta be careful here. The lack of blink, again, means the Classic can't just catch him. GuMiho will get home, siege up his tanks, and defend the 3rd base location, of which he does have a 3rd, so we'll go take that. The worker count's actually very similar here, despite not really any probes dying. I feel like this game is, I don't know, like weirdly even. I was assuming Classic would be ahead after deflecting everything from GuMiho, but GuMiho's done a pretty solid job. He does have stim on the way now. He's got a lot of siege tanks out, already 4 with a 5th one on the way. He's going heavy tank production, which is very intriguing here. Got 1-1 stim and combat shields all on the way. His 3rd base not that far behind his opponent. His worker count not that far behind his opponent. Oh, but Classic's going to take a cheeky gold base here to help fund the charge lots that he's going to be going for in the near future to supplement his army. Very intriguing. Ooh, picks up 2 High Templar in this Prism. That tells me he wants Storm, but he doesn't currently have Storm. Oh, I know what this is for. This is for the Ravens, which still don't have the Interference Matrix upgrade. So GuMiho, that feels like a problem. I guess I'm sure he knows that he doesn't have that, but feels like a good upgrade here against the Colossi. I guess he'll use the, oh, nope, that feedback didn't work. I guess he'll just use the anti-armor missile more than anything. Classic feeling like maybe he's not going to be able to get too much done here. Gonna pull back. I love the little pylons down on this side of the map, just trying to keep vision. I'm gonna kill this Marine that GuMiho had outside of his base. GuMiho does not have much vision out on the map right now. He's playing extremely defensively. Classic deciding to try to bust in here. That's such a bold move. Drops a feedback, but there is another Raven. Hits the anti-armor missile. Tanks still shelling away out here. Some Zealots do crack through. Oh, but the Prism gets taken down by the Vikings. And he's going to grab a Colossus before that Viking dies. Classic just gets absolutely smashed there. And GuMiho did lose a lot too. The trades aren't that dissimilar. But I don't know, man. I don't really like that for Classic. I don't really know why he was trying to bust into GuMiho. Like, why are you trying to bust into like 6 siege tanks? Defensive Terran. He's got to take those bases. Keep him from taking a 4th. Now GuMiho is a lot freer to push out like this because the army supplies are very similar. Also, a big anti-timing for Classic is his 2-1 is almost done now. That being said, there's still a lot of game to happen. Classic's still up a little bit of supply. GuMiho's going to grab his 4th base, but Classic's 5th is very nearly done. I think GuMiho accidentally queued this command center up on the mineral field. We've all done that. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. I didn't even realize Classic is triple expanding right now. There's 3 Nexuses on the way at once. Actually kind of wild. So Classic's going to have his 5th, then soon a 6th, and then soon a 7th up and running. And he's kind of doing exactly what I said, right? It's like, okay, your opponent's kind of turtling, playing very defensively. You just take every base. GuMiho's not doing anything about it. Just take all the bases. He's got +1 ship weapons on the way, and that tells us exactly where Classic is planning to go with this. He's going to drop some Stargates, and go for some Sky Toss at some point in the near future. Right now, he's just trying to get everything up and running, get all his upgrades going. He's going to hit these rocks, but that's going to leave him very vulnerable to the tank fire as well as those EMPs. There are some High Templar in here as well, and 2 in the Prism. Oh, nice little split there from Classic to not eat too much of his army into that anti-armor missile. Classic just kind of posturing out here, right? He wants to try to keep GuMiho at home. Not that GuMiho has shown any penchant for moving out in the later stage of this game. I will say GuMiho, he struggled in this matchup a lot, and a lot of it does come down to the big engagements. Let's see if Classic can get something done here. The Warp Prism goes down with the High Templar in it, but a couple of Storms do get off anyways. Not getting a ton of damage done. It's a nice anti-armor missile hitting. Classic just pulls back. He's got those 2 Stargates on the way. Double Prism being made right now. Because, I mean, if you lose a Prism, just build 2. Then if you lose one, the other one's still right there. Think about it. Think about it. Makes sense. He's got his 5th, 6th, and 7th all up and running, including the large Vespine Geyser over here, getting mined extra. Fleet Beacon going down. Does he already have a Stargate somewhere? Oh, he's already got 2 Stargates, and he's got 2 more. Yeah, Classic's getting ready for a big air switch. Got that +1 finishing for the air army. Shields is on the way as well. But guess what? GuMiho knows this is a possibility as well. He's got +2 ship weapons on the way. He's already kind of somewhat preparing for it, but I don't think he has any extra starports, which could be a problem for him. Oh, the storm drop! Oh my god, GuMiho losing a bunch of SCVs there. He will kill all of that. Oh, that's still such a cute move. And we've got the Prism hitting over here as well. As the same time, the army moves in. Landing some nice storms of feedback. The Colossi moving forward. GuMiho struggling a little bit here. He has ahead a lot of army supply, so he's got a lot of army that can come down and join this. Classic just pulls back, and there's the double carrier production started up. Mothership starts up. He's got +1 ship armor. As well as that shields. Classic. There it is. Four carriers being made. So he's full transitioning to an air army. At the same time, the ground army takes down this planetary before GuMiho can really get over here. If GuMiho pushes right now, Classic will be in trouble. But he doesn't necessarily know that there's only 2 carriers out and 2 more on the way. Classic's not ready for an attack right now. He's got a lot of supply tied up in units that are either not here or far away and slow from any of those bases. What's the starport count? It's only 2 starports here for GuMiho. I would love to see him put down a couple more just to make sure he can pump out Vikings at any given moment, but I don't think he really knows that he's up against this many like carriers coming out. Some Zealots do get in. Let's see how many SCVs have died this game. Only 18. Okay, so it's not as many as I kind of expected. It looks like the mothership might try for a cheeky run around here. Mothership has changed from what it used to be, so got some different abilities, but still has a good recall if he wants to try to sneak it down below the sensor tower, maybe? There's a lot of missile turrets here, but he could still just send the mothership through and recall into the main base. I think that would actually work. GuMiho's trying to get this base set up. Classic going for this one, going for his 8th base, which will be every base on his side of the map. So Classic, he's mining a lot. He's got a 5K mineral bank. Both players really starting to bank now. The scan sees the carriers, so finally GuMiho knows that he needs to get something out to deal with carriers because he only has one Viking. Blink forward to kill the one Viking. Widowmine hits nicely. There goes the cloaking field, but the scans and EMPs make that pretty much useless, so I'm not sure why Classic went with that. The Time Warp may be a little bit nicer here. But the Time Warp runs out. GuMiho, though, feels like he can't really engage with this. He's just going to back up from it. 2 more carriers showing up. Oh my god, 4 more carriers showing up. And suddenly this army from Classic just looks terrifying. I think GuMiho just late to figuring out that it was carriers. He just doesn't have anything to deal with it. Doesn't have the starports necessary. Doesn't even have the marine force necessary to fight this right now. And even though there's nothing here to detect the ghosts, does it really matter? Snipe's going down, but 2 more observers about to show up. The ghosts will all die. The Classic's army feels unstoppable, but GuMiho at the same time on the other side of the map, pushing forward, trying to take down some of the static defense here, or some of the production here. He takes down the main nexus. The army supplies are very similar. Can GuMiho take a good enough fight at the top of this ramp? I just feel like the 8 carriers on their own can do this, especially with the ground army. And while GuMiho is getting some damage done in the main base, killing a lot of this production, Classic could just throw down a bunch of gates down here. Oh man, I didn't realize GuMiho killed both of these bases in the meantime while that fight was happening. Classic is just taking a massive supply lead though. GuMiho is really making a game out of this. I think Classic needs to spend some of that money and start building some gateways down here. He's losing all of his production. He's not going to be able to rebuild any of his army with all of that money he has. He could, of course, recall to one of these nexuses. He's going to kill all of GuMiho's production. GuMiho is building a bunch of factories. Factories? He's going to kill the natural. Killed every producing structure? There's 4 gateways left. They're all unpowered. The 3 stargates are all unpowered. There's literally nothing to produce units for Classic. I feel like Classic's really not handling this well at all. He's not building any gateways. He's starting a forge so he can build cannons? Oh my god, Classic is leaving all of his bases exposed. Whereas GuMiho, look at the amount of turrets he's built. I have no idea why he's building factories. A nuke is going down. Not my favorite nuke in the world, I'll be honest with you. There's the recall. Classic wants to save this base, and he will successfully save this base. Ooh, as he gets one of those medevacs and pushes this away. The Stalkers are still here with a handful of other units. GuMiho really doesn't have much of an army. His army is 8 Marauders, 2 tanks, and a Ghost. He's trying to build siege tanks, but he's supply blocked at 70 out of 45. So while I feel like GuMiho overall was handling this smarter, I think that's because Classic realized he didn't have to handle this smart. He could just, And while GuMiho is really fighting this out, Classic is maybe just way too far ahead. I would love to see Classic send the mothership back to this base in case he needs to recall again. Because he doesn't have that recall and he won't have it for a while. And I think that mothership is going to be more useful back at home in case he needs to recall carriers back home to defend. Because that's the one thing GuMiho could do, is get units in the base when there's no recall available. But I honestly, I don't think it's going to matter. I actually don't think this is enough turrets to stop the amount of carriers there are. I thought GuMiho might just build Widow Mines. He's going for siege tanks. The tanks aren't out yet. I mean, I guess turrets are pretty good. I don't know, dude. That's a lot of dead turrets now. The fact that these carriers aren't just A-moving this, it just shows you how much respect Classic has for GuMiho. Because, I'll tell you guys, 1 ghost and 7 turrets does not beat 8 carriers. But there's 3 Thors on the way now, and this is where things get extra spicy. This is where GuMiho can start to make a hold. And Classic needs to not overcommit. Because, again, Classic, he doesn't have much in the way of unit-producing structures right now. He's finally getting some gateways up. He does have double Robo. So he's starting to get some of this back online. The Stargates are back online. He could rebuild a fleet beacon. He is rebuilding a fleet beacon. The problem for GuMiho is Classic has literally the entire map. And he's just going to poke and prod. Doesn't care if he loses interceptors. Oh, hold on. How are there 8 Vikings out? I missed those 8 Vikings earlier. Okay, hold on. GuMiho's got more than I expected. He spent all of his money on starports, but now he can't build any Vikings. GuMiho. Maybe overdoing it on the amount of unit-producing structures he was building. I actually think there's no way for GuMiho to win this game. He's going to do his absolute best here. He is doing his best turtle impression right now. Fully, his head is inside the shell. His arms and legs are inside the shell. He's just defending. Spots the observer. So the Widow Mines can't get detected here, except there's more observers. Blinks away from the Widow Mine shots. Classic says, screw it, I'm going. I don't care. Widow Mines not helping that much. Classic's just going to have too much, right? There's just no way GuMiho can hold on here. There's the GG. Classic finally busts his way through GuMiho after a bit of a wild base trade there. But it was a last-ditch effort for GuMiho that did not work. So we'll go to a game 2. Classic now up 1-0 in this series. Hop on in. We're going to Hecate, and spawning in the upper right-hand corner, we have Twisted Minds Classic. And his opponent in the lower left, it is Cloud9's GuMiho. Can someone TLDR me the tournament format? Vainglory, just for you, I will explain this tournament format. It's a double elimination tournament. It's pretty straightforward. The big difference here between this and maybe a lot of other similarly set up tournaments is that OSC does not run this all in one day. Instead, this runs over a longer period of time, usually a couple months or so, with the matches played as they come up and the replays then sent to the casters. In this case, me. Sometimes Dave Testa, sometimes just Jordan, and occasionally others as well. So they're done over long periods of time. I think all of the elimination matches, except for maybe the first round or 2 of the lower bracket, are best of 5. So there's a lot of best of 5 series. So it takes a long time to chew through all these games. We have a lot of good, really sick games in this bracket that have already happened, more to come. And so far today, honestly, the series have all been really good. Very competitive. Game 1 of this series is already 22 minutes, so I feel like we're continuing that trend. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Please consider hitting that follow button, subscribing on YouTube. If you missed any of the matches today or are just enjoying the casting, I post all of my best matches that I cast on my YouTube channel. Usually at least one a day, oftentimes more than one a day. With all these best of 5s right now, it's going to be a lot of videos posted next week on the YouTube channel. Trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. Trying to do it. How did Christianer Spirit go? Very good, Pashka. It was a really sick series. Went all 5 games. Christianer was able to take it at the end of the day. It was a sick match. Like to give Chad a little attention at the start of the game. I know you guys are like me. You like need that attention, you know? What am I without the attention of others? What are any of us? That's why we're here. That's why we do social media. We crave it. GuMiho opening with a couple Reapers and a Hellion. Gonna try to poke and prod at Classic, who is opening with a Robo. This little Robo opener once again. Interesting choice here for Classic. I feel like I've seen a lot of Stargate openers, a lot of Blink Stalker openers, but Robo openers pretty seldomly seen. Well, I did not realize how many Reapers and Hellions GuMiho had, and he tries, Classic tries to put a pylon down, but he doesn't get it. Now these probes are super vulnerable. Classic is going to split the probes not to take too much damage, but the Reapers and Hellions will split as well. That Hellion going to get taken down. Probes go back to mining. The Reapers will get taken down as well. 5 probes are killed, which feels like a lot, but for 3 Reapers and a Hellion, not as worth it as I thought it was going to be. I can't believe GuMiho actually got in there, but I don't think splitting the units actually helped him all that much. It felt like a good choice, but I don't think it did too much. The Hellions on the low ground ended up really not getting any damage done. The shield battery keeping those units safe. And it looked like a good start for GuMiho, but it ends up just being okay. However, he's got a drop to follow up, which the Observer will spot immediately. I don't think it saw the tank get in there, but seeing the drop coming is obviously massive. And Classic going to be able to get some units over here to keep an eye on it. See if he figures out where it went, because it is heading towards the main base, it looks like. GuMiho going to be able to siege this tank up. Classic not too close. And of course, without Blink, it's a little harder to clean this up. Oh, nice use of Classic SimCity against him there from GuMiho. So he just flies over the gateway in the Cybercore, forcing those Stalkers to walk all the way back around, scans the Observer, and then gets out of there with all but 1 Marine. GuMiho doing some nice moves here, some fancy moves. And again, taking advantage of the fact that there's no Blink, there's no Phoenixes or anything, and really putting that pressure on, using that micro potential that the Medevac has against Classic, whose third base is only just now going down the 5-minute 30 mark, when the third base of GuMiho is almost done in his main. Hot damn. He gets out of there with the Medevac almost completely full. Just that poor 1 Marine going down. Another Observer just got killed. RIP Observers in this game. Yeah, Clem versus Cham will be, I assume, in the next broadcast for this. So just keep an eye out. If you guys aren't already on teamliquid.net, which I assume you are, probably how many of you have found this channel right now. Let's keep an eye there for the next scheduled event. Next scheduled OSC World Championships 11 cast. I don't even know if Clem and Cham have played yet. That should be a good one. It's going to be a tough one for Cham. Cham has had some really promising results in the last couple of years, but Clem is... I mean, Clem is Clem. So that's like... that's a hard one. That's a tough one for our boy Cham. What happened to Dave? My good friend Dave. I believe he went to sleep. Good night, Mr. Dave Testa. These matches are all cast from replays. These replays were all recently played. And the results are not public yet. This is all This is all new information to all of us. So they're replays, but they're fresh replays. They're hot and fresh. Hot and ready. Like, what's that pizza slogan? Is that CC's? No, Little Caesars? Who does hot and ready? Some absolutely garbage pizza company. Just some of the worst pizza you can ever have. I would rather eat frozen grocery store pizza than, yeah, Little Caesars. Jeez. Ugh. No, thank you. No, thank you. Nice quick storm here for Classics. A lot of High Templar chilling. I love this army. It's like 6 High Templar, a Colossus, an Immortal, and 3 Stalkers. It's just so... It's so concentrated. The power of this army. There's no chaff. Ooh, Classic gonna go for a storm drop, it looks like. GuMiho again playing very defensively so far. Not really pushing out with the big army. Just have a little group over here, maybe gonna do something, but oh, the natural. Classic, go Classic, go. There we go, there's the storms. Oh, he even drops the 3rd storm. I think the High Templar are probably going down, but they get 4 storms out of them. That was a lot of dead SCVs. Most of that 15 just right there. Cute little move. GuMiho does clean it up, but you'll love to see. You'll love a good storm drop, don't you? It's good stuff. Classic takes a 20 worker lead as he takes a 4th base over to the left. GuMiho looks like he does want to put some pressure on, and he's going for the split push. Ah! He's so timid. I feel like GuMiho really doesn't like playing TVP because every time it looks like this. He's like, "Oh, should I go? Or I'll pull back. It's safer if I pull back." But like, man, he's got a lot of army right now. It could be a good time to go. He's just playing a little bit scared. He's a little bit worried about what Classic's got going on. Classic does see this army as he gets a little supply blocked here from that spotter pylon going down. But I don't think he sees this army, and this is now GuMiho utilizing his army very well. Feedback goes down, a beautiful storm there to soften these units up, but there's nothing else to finish them off. GuMiho sees the recall and backs up. And Classic able to push back both sides there. Not really taking much damage. This is another storm drop. Look at how damaged these SCVs are. More workers going down, and now Zealots in the main base. And a couple of High Templars still chilling in here. Could try to come back in and get some more storms as the Zealots will go down. Looks like Classic gonna hit the 4th base at the same time. It is a planetary, but Classic says, screw it, I'm going in anyways. Are there any EMPs here? Doesn't look like it. Storms peppering the army. And nothing to repair that planetary. Down it goes. More storms hitting. I don't know where that prism went in the meantime. I think it might have died. The EMPs do finally connect. But GuMiho's army, I think, is a little too small now. He's got some reinforcements showing up. Classic. Ooh, he's got to be careful. He's just move commanding away. Oh my god, everything just got killed there. It could have at least traded. Never mind, we found the war prism. It's not dead. Ooh. Another big storm. Classic just lost his whole army, but he's getting huge economic damage done to the Terran. The auto attack is finishing off some of these SCVs. You never see that work. But Classic's 4th base in some trouble. GuMiho says, screw it, I'm going to the 3rd. I feel like just getting the safe kill on the 4th could be really nice here, but he's gonna go for the 3rd. Classic doesn't really have anything to defend this right now. I think a Colossus might be finishing up here. Super Shield Battery does turn on to try to help him stay alive as EMPs hit the High Templar. They will get taken down, try to morph into an Archon, but down it goes. This 4th base still in some trouble. The probes are getting pulled here. GuMiho down to 41 workers on 3 bases, but he's not Classic down to 3 bases as well. He's killing a lot of Classic's probes, and suddenly this game isn't looking so bad for GuMiho, who's up 60 army supply. The Zealots getting creamed here. It's double Colossus production. Can Classic get an army out to take a fight? I don't know. There's a lot of army here. GuMiho sending the other half of his army across. I don't think Classic has enough to fight this. Oh, the triple Archon double Colossus army is pretty terrifying. But GuMiho just pushes in over here where there's like 4 units. He's going to take it all down. He's going to take the 4th base down. These probes are dead. Oh, but maybe GuMiho splitting his army is going to cause him some trouble. As now, Classic should be able to take a decent fight. But the split from GuMiho is so sick. He's going to clean all this up. The Marauder's going to finish off those Colossi. Maybe not quite. But at the same time, this other army moves into the natural, takes a beautiful position against the charge lots. And I think we're seeing the end here. Classic does not have much left. He's going to warp in some High Templar and hope that he can stay alive. But he's at 28 probes. He's got his main and his natural left at 13 minutes, which means there's barely any mining left at these bases to be had. He has no longevity in this game. He's down at like a third the supply of his opponent. Oh my god, there's nothing to shoot up. The 2 Vikings just killed a Colossus. And I think this has got to be it. As the rest of this bio shows up, Classic is going to realize that there's just nothing left for him. Down goes the last Colossus. The last Storm's getting dropped, and GuMiho will tie the series up 1-1. GG. Whew. And these guys fighting their heart out. I said at the start of the series, I was like, GuMiho's been struggling in this matchup, but not in that game. Set up the double prong really well. I really feel like the moment that swapped into GuMiho's favor, though, was Classic attacking the 4th and then just sticking around too long. And the reinforcements kept coming. And then he just move commanded away during the fight. Lost both Colossi and all the Stalkers for free. And suddenly GuMiho's army was like just twice the size of Classic's. And that's kind of a problem. I don't know if you guys know this. Usually, the bigger army wins in a fight. That's kind of how that last game ended. We're getting into game 3 now. We're on hard lead and spawning. In the upper left-hand corner, we have Classic playing for the Twisted Minds. His opponent in the lower right for Cloud9, it's GuMiho. Ooh. And these series have gone real long. None of these matches have been short, quick series, which is good for the StarCraft. Slightly bad for my sleep, but you know, we make sacrifices. I do have to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, but I guess I'll just have to be tired. That's all it's gonna be. My coworkers will be like, why are you so tired? I was up all night casting StarCraft. What are you going to do about it? It's just how it's got to be. Some things are more important than sleep and work. StarCraft is one of those things. GuMiho going for the factory before the CC here. Maybe some potential to be cheeky if he wants to be. Slightly more aggressive potential. We have seen him go for some quick drops and things of that nature so far. Well, keep an eye out for Classic's tech of choice. So far, it's been a Robo as the first tech. I think is the least common tech building against Terran, but I don't know. Maybe I've been missing something in TVP. The fact that we haven't seen any Stargate openers is surprising to me, but whoop, Hold on. That Robo tried to go down. And then Classic pulled that probe back to the gas. So what's happening now? Never mind. He's going to go take it anyways. Okay. Well, maybe he didn't want the Reaper to see that it was another Robo opening. Now, that's true. I did discount the new Cyclone. We have seen a number of Cyclone cheeses, and the Robo is going to be much stronger against that. Can't discount those Cyclones, especially with a player like GuMiho. Although I remember when the Cyclone first changed to what it is, GuMiho immediately tried like a cheesy Cyclone build against Hero, and Hero just went 4-gate blink and crushed it. It was so funny. It was like, oh, the new Cyclone's so strong. GuMiho was like, I'm going to build 10. And Hero was just like, I don't know, I got 15 Blink Stalkers. Like, I'm just going to win this fight. I don't know what to tell you. But GuMiho is going to dive in with the 3 Reapers and the 2 Hellions again, same as last game. And he will be able to get a few kills, this time keeping everything together on the low ground. The probes coming back from that shield battery a little soon. And 8 probes go down this time. As this final Reaper will get into the main base and is going to spot the Robo into Stargate that Classic went for. That is a really nice scout for that Reaper. Classic, man, this is tech heavy from Classic. Oh, I don't know where this SCV is going. What's going on? He just wanted to bring this barrel to the Protoss. Here you go, bud. Got you some gas. Thought you might need it. So Classic going for Phoenix Colossus, but in a different order than I guess we used to see it. I guess that Robo first is going to be for safety against the Cyclone play. But we do have a cheeky Widowmine drop with some Marines in it. GuMiho trying to get some worker kills. So far, he has gotten 9 kills, but it looks like only 1 with this follow-up drop. Gets a Stalker as well, though, and the trades are slightly in favor of GuMiho, relatively even. Phoenix is looking for a kill here. The Widowmine gets lifted up, even though it's off cooldown. Stalker gets targeted down, and with the healing here, GuMiho is actually going to be able to keep these units alive against the Stalkers. This is a bit weird. It's a bit wild. Classic pushing this all the way back. GuMiho sending some reinforcements out to try to support this drop in getting home. Classic's not going to overstay his welcome, though. There's a couple Phoenix out. Not a lot of Phoenix production here to Classic. His third base is going to go down soon, it looks like. But GuMiho wants to push. There's no Colossus out yet. It's just a couple of Phoenix and a few Stalkers. And I feel like GuMiho's build here is finding a bit of a weak spot in Classic's army composition. And now this third is in some trouble. There's no stim on these Marines or combat shields. But with the tank sieged up, a lot of potential here for GuMiho. He's rallying across as well. He's got another tank, more Marines, another medevac showing up. GuMiho just picked up a Marine to save it, and there's the cancel on the base. Colossus is out now. The Phoenixes lift up the 1 siege tank. The second tank going to show up and try to help out as this tank drops back down, but it gets killed. This one gets lifted halfway through sieging. It will resume sieging up. All the Stalkers are going down. Oh my god, and this Colossus getting shelled by the tank. The Marines walking a little bit too far forward, though. I feel like they have to pull back. But Classic's just going to tap out. That's it. GuMiho with that push takes game number 3. What a game from GuMiho. I mean, a good start with the Reapers and Hellions. But I think that push just really hitting Classic right at the weak point. Right before that first Colossus was ready. Right when the third base was brand new and fresh. The, Stalkers trying to push away that drop. That Widowmine Marine drop. 2 Stalkers died to that. That doesn't feel like that should happen. Not with a Phoenix out. But GuMiho has some good micro and just... Honestly, it felt like a solid build order matchup for him. He will go up in the series 2-1. Despite having a tough time in this matchup, GuMiho doing well in a big tournament. And that's such a GuMiho thing to do, is like struggle in TVP in every Open Cup and weekly, like a KSL, just struggle in the matchup for so long. And then like, what's the prize pool this tournament? Okay, I got you. Suddenly he's like doing all right in the matchup. Like, well, I guess it's not too bad then. But here we go, game number 4. We're on Ancient Cistern, and in the upper right-hand corner, we have Twisted Minds Classic. His opponent in the lower left on match point, ready to move on in this bracket. It is Cloud9's GuMiho. This is a lower bracket as well, so these are elimination matches. The winner of this will face Shin. Good old Shin Hebiam Ragnarok, formerly known as Ragnarok, in the next round. Hey, these games have been good. I feel like they have been getting shorter, though. Game 1 was like 23 minutes. Game 2 was like 15, maybe. That last game, I don't know. Maybe by the time we get to Game 5, we'll see like a proxy. Game will just end at 3 minutes. Another factory before CC here for GuMiho. I really only point this out because of the new Cyclone, right? Like, it's not a Reaper expand, and GuMiho is the kind of player that would like maybe pull out like this weird one base build or something. It looks like he is gonna expand, but it would be funny to see him just bust out a one base build. Just like, who needs a natural when you can just have one base? Does make me miss TY though. I think TY is the only one who could compete with GuMiho for, excuse me, having some crazy build orders. TY would always bust out something super cheeky in the big matches. Very smart player. The Adept is chasing one Reaper, and second Reaper shows up. Like, wait a minute. You're only supposed to build one of these. This might be GuMiho trying to like convince Classic that he's going for another like Reaper Hellion opener, which is not the case here, as it is a Cyclone coming across the map, and then looks to be a Widowmine drop follow-up. So this time GuMiho is going to utilize that new Cyclone. Classic did open Stargate, so he's got a Phoenix on the way, but it's not here quite yet to help out against all these units. Cyclone going to lock onto the Stalker, and the Stalker gonna have to micro backwards, but ooh, it will get out of range. Ooh, can he get it? Nope, the answer is not quite. 6 hit points on that. Classic gets out of there. I think he lost a few probes, but yeah, killing a lot of heavy gas units here. Now Classic's gonna push across the map with the remnants of his little ragtag force here, I should say. I forgot Ancient Cistern. We got the Tastalope and the Artosalopes on here. I think there's 3 of each on this map. Classic gonna try to pick off some units. 2 more Cyclones are on the way for GuMiho, so Classic probably doesn't want to stick around too long. But he's gonna try to take a good trade in the meantime. The Marine's going down. 1 Adept does fall, but as the Cyclones pop, Classic will turn around, and ooh, we got an armory on the way right now. Okay, GuMiho. All right, that's kind of cute. Well, GuMiho giving us something special here in game number 4. As there's a Widow Mine drop going off right now. The armory will not be done in time for this Widow Mine to, I mean, it died anyways, but to theoretically do something. But now the Landed Viking with the 2 Cyclones here. Landed Viking going to help against the Stalkers while the Cyclones can help deal with the Phoenixes, but the Robo is done. The Immortal is out here for Classic. Classic will hold on. Whoop, Widow Mine drop though. Another Widow Mine somehow gets in. Where was this Widow Mine? How did this Widow Mine get in here? I don't know, but there's nothing to detect it right now. Is there an observer? No, there's not. One is on the way for Classic. Should be able to get there in time. I might get another shot off. Ooh, it's close. It's close. Not quite. Close, but no cigar. Classic doesn't take any extra damage there. GuMiho is taking his 3rd on location as he has stopped the Cyclone production and is now going to get into bio. Double eBay finishing up. Now the Widow Mine drop though, just keep going for him. Who needs it? Who needs to not? Oof. Runs into the Observer though, a bit unfortunate there for him. As there are Phoenixes out, so the Widow Mine's not going to be able to do what they needed to do. They will in fact get cleaned up without doing anything, but the Cyclones and Vikings going to come in here and hit the probe line. Ooh, that's a lot of dead probes going down. Oh my god, 17 probes have died this game. I feel like these Cyclones just got like 10 kills. Yeah, because look at this natural, 8 out of 16 and nothing on gas right now. It's actually some huge damage from GuMiho. He does lose his Cyclones, and it looks like he's going to lose his Vikings as well. They might be able to sneak out of here. Classic has quite a bit more army supply right now, as he does have 1 Colossus out, 2nd one on the way. Thermal lands being created. Just a lot of bio and Vikings coming out of GuMiho right now. But GuMiho does have 1-1 on the way, so he's going to have a big upgrade lead over his opponent in the fairly near future. Some bio finding some Stalkers here, picks one off. Gotta be careful, pulls back a little bit from the Colossus. Colossus getting targeted down, actually. The Viking coming in from the corner to help out. GuMiho just picks that off and then leaves. He doesn't really have much else. He's only got 33 army supply right now, and a lot of that is in production. I think he's kind of lucky Classic didn't just move this way, because, man, GuMiho really had nothing. He, like, picked up and fell back, and I expected to see there be, like, an army here. There just wasn't anything. Like, oh, you're just falling back to nothing. But I guess it worked for him. Classic gonna pull home, take his 4th base, and oh my god, he starts at +1 air weapons already. Are we getting ready for another long game here? Damn, Classic. Just gonna work his way back to carriers. He was like, hey, that worked really well in game 1. Let's just try that again. But I don't think GuMiho is gonna play quite as defensively this time. He's got his 1-1. He's got a group of bio. He's gonna head out on the map. Starts up his own 4th. And well, I feel like Classic has much better map control so far in this game. With the Phoenixes, he's got these pylons out there. Obviously, Observer is going to be very useful. GuMiho, I don't know. I'm kind of liking GuMiho's position. Perfection.
Thanks as always for being part of the SC2 community and casting tonight. Would sub but want to give you the dollar, not Bezos' tongue.
Thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate that. Don't want to give it to Bezos. I respect it. I respect it. Did you guys hear that alert doubled? Because I did. I don't know why. But we got to hear Brian twice. Thank you so much, Perfection. I really appreciate that. The $5 instead of sub is a kind thing to do. I'm glad you're enjoying the content out here. We got some sick matches today as GuMiho's putting on pressure on both locations right now. There's a shield battery here. It's going to overcharge to buy some time. Classic just trying to hold on until his army can actually get over here. And it looks like that will be enough to push GuMiho away. He's going to snipe off that observer in the meantime. But he's got to keep on backing up. There's a lot of stuff coming his way. GuMiho is going to try to group up with the rest of his army. He's very disjointed at the moment. This could end up in a really weird engagement. Nice pickups with these Phoenixes, just lifting up a few units to drop them out later. GuMiho is sending some of this army up and trying to defend with the rest of it. Force field's coming down, though. This is getting a little bit weird as Classic pushes in. He's going to recall to this base as he sees this army come in. Oh, man, GuMiho is just not watching this at all. Maybe more focused down here. It looks like he did win a bit of a fight. And he's going to lose a lot of this army for not a lot of a reason. But now reinforcements do show up. He's going to pick off the last of those zealots and pull back. At the same time, landed Vikings coming in here to try to get some damage done. They'll get cleaned up, and now GuMiho is over on the right-hand side. This game is getting wild. I think GuMiho handed the sticks to Cure or something. He is just multi-pronging like a madman and doing so much annoying damage right now to Classic. It doesn't feel like he's getting a ton of like super real damage. As I say that, though, he just cleans up this entire mineral line. So GuMiho proving me wrong again. Now he's going to drop in the main. At the same time, trying to micro this army over here against what Classic has. This should get cleaned up in the main here, but it's feeling very difficult for Classic, and he's losing a lot of probes, and the carrier attempt is getting scouted right now. So GuMiho, even if he gets repelled, he's going to know there's carriers coming out much earlier than he did in game number 1, where Classic surprised him with 4 and then 8 carriers before GuMiho could really do anything. This last Marine is finally going to get cleaned up by the Colossus, but this has been so annoying for Classic, who is now down at 58 probes. And while he does have +1 ship weapons, he's only on +1 ground attack. So GuMiho, who is on 2-2, gonna have a much stronger ground army. This transition from Classic is really not working out too well. The reason in game 1 why he was able to transition so well into those 8 carriers is because GuMiho played super defensively and Classic just took 7 bases immediately. This has not happened this game, and GuMiho is just gonna stim forward with 2-2 Marines underneath these interceptors. I don't think he has to really worry too much about them. There are a lot of Colossi, though. The 4 Colossi are causing him more trouble, I think, than the carriers are. Another carrier does show up. 2 more carriers show up. GuMiho will get pushed back. He's got a little army on the left-hand side here, which I don't think Classic quite knows about, but Classic has some units in position just in case. Feels like he knows this could possibly be coming. GuMiho's taken a 5th base during all of this. So he's got the pressure on, and he's keeping Classic back. Classic was trying to transition from ground to air, which is extremely expensive and time-consuming. He doesn't have a 5th base while he's doing it. Ideally, Classic should really be on 6 bases right now for all this. But as it is, he's struggling to mine enough to really make this happen. And GuMiho, he's going to go for a big old drop here into the natural. Scans to see where the army is at. Classic is like, what? Why are you scanning? Why are you scanning? The observer here looking for the medevacs. Doesn't see them. GuMiho is going to be able to get in. He shows his army on the left side. There is a mothership here to drop a time warp and to do the cloaking field, but the 4 medevacs going into the main base. GuMiho taking a decent fight on the left, and at the same time, big doom drop in here. Now, there is a recall available. We could see that go down. The carriers and Colossi coming in, though. It's a very powerful combination. GuMiho is going to go ahead and kill one of the Stargates, but he's going to get everything else here cleaned up, it looks like. 1 medevac full of units will escape. Classic getting supply blocked, actually, after losing another pylon or 2. But the big thing is, during all this, GuMiho is still on 5 bases. So he is cruising economically. He's going to find some Zealots and Stalkers here. Does lose the medevac, so not a lot of healing potential for GuMiho's army. Which means it's all very low right now. He doesn't want to fight the Colossi with it. I don't know where that 1 full medevac went. It looks like this army's getting pushed all the way back. GuMiho trying to just escape with it as best as possible. It will get cleaned up. There's the recall, though, back to the base. The base is getting targeted down. It is going to fall. No, it gets saved. Oh, no, never mind. It does fall, but GuMiho sticks around way too long to trade with that. He is going to kill a lot of these stalkers, but Classic will clean up that army. He cleaned up this army as well, and suddenly Classic is ahead 20 army supply, and he's going to try to push in. GuMiho is attempting to double expand. He's forced to cancel one, but nice thing about double expanding is the other one does stay alive. This is not a planetary. There are no turrets here. There's no static defense for GuMiho, and he's feeling like he can't fight this straight on right now, so he's just going to run around it. But now Classic should be able to get into actually dealing damage on this base much quicker than GuMiho. What looked like such a sick game for GuMiho in such a good position turns into a base trade in not a good position. There are 5 Colossi here. Reinforcements are just never going to do anything against this, especially if they just walk in and die. GuMiho, no. GuMiho is splitting his army to try to fight against this. Where is Medivacs, though? He's got so few Medivacs. Every stim is so painful. He needs to gather these Medivacs together. Both players are losing bases. Probe's getting gunned down here. GuMiho does have this base, which has not been scouted just yet. And he's still mining from a couple of these as well. I feel like he needs to get in the main base and start taking down at least pylons and stopping the production of his opponent. Classic getting into the main base. I think I like GuMiho's position better. The one thing for GuMiho is that he can't really take a straight fight against Classic's army just yet. And that's a bit of a problem for him. Also, again, the healing. The healing is a huge problem. Everything is in the orange right now. He needs to realize he has 3 Medivacs here. GuMiho, F2. F2, GuMiho. No, the Medivacs. Oh, he figured it out. GuMiho, he realized, and he realizes he needs that healing energy. And so he's going to send the Medivacs up to join up with the main force. Now, he has a lot of Marines here with a bunch of turrets and a planetary back here. That does not help him very much against the Colossi, I'll be honest with you. But I don't think Classic realizes his base is here just yet. It's only a matter of time, right? Yeah, he's just A-moving this direction. Now, the Prism is going to be the first thing to spot this. This is getting kind of spicy. Classic has 2 Nexuses out here. GuMiho is just trying to hold on as much as he can. The turret's getting a couple of interceptor kills here. Oh, there's no scans. There's not going to be any detection to see any of these units. Interceptors are going to die. That's kind of important, but Classic has enough money to remake those. The planetary staying alive long enough to get a couple extra kills. But GuMiho's supply is plummeting. He's now down 30 army supply. But he killed this base, or at least forced to cancel on it. This base for Classic, that's going to be his last building right now. Oh my god, GuMiho's going to go for it. No, he has to go for it. No, GuMiho, what is he doing? Oh my god, he's going to lose absolutely everything. GG. If he kills that building, I think he has it. But Classic takes it at the very last minute. Oh man, GuMiho, I don't think he realized that he was in a position where there was only like a couple of buildings left. Classic with the superior army holds on in the base trade. What a wild end to that game. GuMiho was in such a good position for so long in that game. But the air transition was enough. Getting those carriers out. The thing is, those first couple carriers kind of suck. But with the Colossi, they stayed alive. And Classic is able to get into like 5 carriers, which is enough to be good. Suddenly, those carriers are very good. Oh, man. And now we've got a Game 5 on our hands. And we're going to Solaris. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner for the Twisted Minds, we have Classic. Taking that game, taking us to a Game 5. Against his Terran opponent in the lower left for Cloud9, it's GuMiho. I know Classic had a little bit of money left for pylons, but he only had about... I think he could have started one more Nexus. I still think Classic holds on there, even if GuMiho snipes that Nexus. But, like, the chances become a lot higher for GuMiho if he's able to just kill that Nexus. Because then there's only a couple of buildings left for Classic. He had one pylon on the left side of the map. There was a couple buildings left in the main that GuMiho was working on. But GuMiho kept fighting against that army with, like, a third of his army or less. And it just, it didn't go well. Bio does not handle Colossus Carrier particularly well. Shockingly. Oh, GuMiho going to go for a Reaper expand this game. Oh, actually, it's a Marine expand. Excuse me. These guys didn't play on Game Heart, so I don't have the little caster helpers telling me how many workers have died, telling me what's being built in the buildings. Imagine not playing with the Game Heart modifier. Shame on these players. We'll get them on there next time. Whew. All right. Use this downtime to not talk too much, as my voice is getting a little tired. My jaw is getting tired. I've drank like 6 liters of water today. Oh, I don't need Game Heart. I just have chat. Chat telling me no workers have died. Thank you. I appreciate it, chat. You guys are killing it. You guys are killing it. Another Robo opener here from Classic. He did open Stargate last game, which I feel like worked out okay. Wants to go for the Robo. And because there was no Reaper, GuMiho is going to build the Hellion and try to get that in for some scouting info instead. See what's what. See the Robo. Oh, Force Field just a little late. And actually Classic blocking himself out of defending the base. That sentry was like, I'll block him. He just whiffed it. Full whiffed. And the Hellion's going to be able to get a probe kill. Might be able to get a second one. Ooh, ooh. Third one? Not quite. Not quite. Close. Close. But he does pull the Stalkers back. Gets a scout on the Robo. That's kind of nice. GuMiho, in the meantime, is going for a drop, which I believe the Observer spotted. Classic now knows he's got to play defensively. I think GuMiho's just going to try to poke this pylon. This is the unfortunate thing about the Reaper wall. Suddenly the pylon becomes a little bit exposed. Stalkers going to be able to shoot down here. The force field is cute. But GuMiho's micro is cuter. Picks up that Marine. Keeping everybody alive for now. And down will that pylon go. Alright, there he goes. He gets it. Depowers the Cyber Core. That means Classic won't be able to start up his +1 ship weapons. Now, there's a very good chance Classic never repowers this and is disappointed later when he tries to start that up. I can see it happening. We've already had 2 games where he's gotten an upgrade on this building, so it's like a pretty decent chance. Right now, we're at like a 50-50 chance. GuMiho thinking about moving out again. I think he's looking for the Observer, which it looks like he almost killed, but not quite able to catch up to it. GuMiho's got Stim combat shields on the way. 3rd CC started up. Cyclone got bopped by the Immortal. It's doing its job. Ooh, drop trying to come in, but gonna get shoved away. No blink and no starport here, so the medevac is somewhat safe. I like how it has the Raven with it too, just in case it needs that auto turret to drop down. We have Colossi coming out again for Classic, and he's going for the Starport, or Stargate rather. I always get those backwards. I feel like I get that backwards more often than I get it correct somehow. Yeah, but he's got the Stargate coming out. This is a similar build to, I think it was game 3 out of Classic, but quicker on the Colossi. Getting the first Colossus started before the Stargate means the Phoenix is going to be a lot later, but he's going to be safer against that kind of aggression that he actually died to, and I'm pretty sure it was game 3. Maybe it was game 2. It was one of those. No, it was game 3. It was game 3. I remember now. He went Robo Stargate, but the Colossus wasn't ready in time. Now the Phoenix is out, so now these units have to... They got to do something. GuMiho's got to figure out what to do. He's going to lose this Raven before he's able to do anything. Yeah, he's just going to lose all this. Tries to boost away. At the same time, GuMiho hitting over here. And Classic reacting a little bit late. So down goes the shield battery. The bio stimming in. GuMiho's kind of trapped himself in a corner now. He's going to lift up and get on out of there. Oh, and somehow some units came over here. Maybe a few of those Marines dropped out. Maybe a few reinforcements. The one Marine drops out to keep an eye on things. The Phoenix says, nope, you can't just sit there. What are you going to do? GuMiho says, I will run away. Brave, brave Sir Robin. He bravely runs away. But he also attacks on the upper left. The army of Classic is nearby, though, so he's going to have to back up. Ooh, some cheeky little force fields. Nice move there from Classic. Trims off a bunch of those bio units before GuMiho backs up. The supply is dead even. As we are 3 base to 3 base. Everything pretty even across the board. Honestly, a little bit of give and take here and there, but for the most part, this is a very close game right now. I like how much more aggressive GuMiho has gotten in this series. As it's gone on, GuMiho has gotten more and more aggressive. It started out game 1, he was super turtly and just like Classic. It felt like Classic could do whatever he wanted. GuMiho just had no care to try to punish him. But now again, as these games have gone on, GuMiho starting to get hyper aggressive, getting this multi-pronged pressure going. And it looks like Classic is going to clean this up. GuMiho not watching that side, instead of watching the left. It's only a few Marines get picked up in this drop and will try to escape. Classic deflecting. Classic also doesn't seem too pressured to expand. And that's something I'm a little surprised by in these aggressive games from GuMiho. Like, Classic's not taking a 4th base right now. And normally I would expect the 4th base of the Protoss to be done by now. But he's like, he doesn't even have a probe out here. It's not like he's like really trying and GuMiho's stopping him. No, he's just letting it happen. Instead, he's taking to double carrier again. Like, he's just letting this heavy aggression happen. Now he's going to try to take a 4th base, and it's not going to work, at least for now. GuMiho's 4th is almost done in the meantime. Oof, but Classic is... I don't know if he spotted this. Okay, he did spot this. He did spot this. The Observer just had enough vision to spot that in the corner with the siege mode. Does anybody else think when Observers and Overseers siege, they should see less? That's how I've always felt about it. But the Observer sees more. It sees that drop coming. Classic pushes it back. But GuMiho's 20 supply up right now. He's mining more. He has more money. I don't know if he knows that there's carriers. That's an important fact. I don't think he's seen the carriers just yet. Maybe he can surmise them based on the fact that it's the third time this series that Classic has gone for carriers. But on 3 bases, I personally would not expect the Protoss to try to go for carriers. However, he's going to see them now. They're a little exposed. Gotta be gotta be careful there. Scans again. The Widowmine's going to get killed. I was hoping they'd get a big shot off, but no such luck. And GuMiho is going to attack in over here. Mama is done. The army will get back in time. Classic splitting his army to deal with both sides of this attack. Sending both sides packing for now. GuMiho pulls home. Starts up his +1 ship weapons. He's got a second starport, building a reactor so he can maybe get some Vikings out. This is a big army from GuMiho. The 2 Colossi are here with the mothership. Feels like that bio army could try to get on top of that. It's a hard army to split here for Classic. He wants to keep some carriers on each side, some splash damage on each side, but if he overcommits to one side and it's the wrong side, things could get a little bit dicey. So far, it looks like he's split very well, though. It seems he understands what he's up against. EMP's going down here, but I don't think it's enough for GuMiho to win the air battle. It looks like he will win the ground battle, but it's only Marauders left against the 2 carriers. At the same time, the cloaking field on this side is going to help push GuMiho away. GuMiho going to lose some of those medevacs. Good pickoffs there from Classic. These supplies are still so similar. And it looks like, hey, +1's finishing up. I guess Classic did put down a new pylon. Just important to keep an eye on. And his 4th base is finally done. Classic, after mining like absolute hot garbage for so much of this game. That's not entirely true, but he's going to need that 4th base to Maynard probes from the main and the natural too. But GuMiho's got his 5th base turning into a planetary right now. And it's generally speaking a problem for the Protoss. But something I, kind of mentioned in game 1 and has been a bit prevalent is in the big army battles. When both players have all the tools at their disposal, I feel like GuMiho struggles in those fights, and I think Classic knows that. That's why he wants to try to just get to the late game here, get to the big army fights. GuMiho doesn't do as well in those. And I think that's part of why GuMiho's trying to multi-prong here. He's trying to hit in multiple locations to stop just one big army fight from happening, but Classic is doing a great job defending on both sides so far, despite some big EMPs hitting. Cloaking field hitting, keeping a lot of those units hidden. Classic pushes this army back. Doesn't see that there's a base here, but I'm guessing he's expecting there to be one there. Classic grouping his army up as GuMiho is doing the same thing. Looks like we might be getting to a big army fight. There's the scan up to the high ground, but GuMiho realizes there are 2 armies up here. Having a bit of a standoff. GuMiho just going to take 2 more bases, just double expand. This is actually, this is funny. This is like a reverse from game 1 in a lot of ways. Classic is just kind of playing very defensively on 4 bases. GuMiho's like, all right, screw it then. I'll go up to 6. No problem. Anytime. He might be a little heavy on Marauders. There are 24 Marauders. There's a couple less Marauders. Oh my God, this army just got absolutely slaughtered. And now GuMiho's going to push it over here. Some storms do connect. Like some more EMPs need to go forward here. GuMiho decides to pull back. Starts up a nuke and a fusion core. That's how you know things are getting good. Looks like we're going to have a nice long game 5. Buckle up. Get comfy. Get your popcorn out. I could go for some popcorn right now. You might want to make me some popcorn. Bring it over. We'll enjoy the rest of this game in style. I guess that probably wouldn't be very good for casting, but it would taste good. Would love to see a good nuke land here for GuMiho. But again, I worry about the late game army situation, as it feels like so far when Classic gets this army up, GuMiho struggles to deal with it. Now, the interceptors do go forward onto the rocks, and a bunch of them just died for absolutely nothing. They died for the same thing war is good for. EMPs do land on a lot of the army. Classic says screw it though. Scans go forward. There are some turrets here to help out. The time warp though hitting the bio army, and GuMiho is just gonna run head first into this army and die. 3 Colossi. There are 8 carriers. And Classic just wins the fight handily. He is now 60 supply up. He's gonna rout this base, kill that base, taking a 5th in the meantime. He could just keep going, and this is unfortunately what we see a lot of times in the late games with GuMiho. It feels like he struggles against these armies in Classic. I think he knows it. That's why he's been rushing these carriers. He's like, if I get there, he can't beat me. He can't do it. And GuMiho's struggling down at 150 supply, trying to get his reinforcements together. He's got a bunch of Vikings, 15 Vikings. There's enough stalkers on the ground to make that more complicated. The Prism does get taken out at the expense of a couple more Vikings. And Classic, after killing the natural, he's just going to pull back. I love the Stalker still here just in case the Vikings come out too far. As a dead planetary, these +2 carriers just doing too much. Classic's like, all right, let's take a fight. Yeah, you're out here now. You're not up on your nice little ramp. Let's fight, buddy. Let's go, buddy. The Vikings doing their best here. Another cloaking field activates. And it looks like we are getting near the end of this game. And the end of this series is I don't think GuMiho is going to be able to fight this one out. Classic's army is just too powerful. The ball is to death. The Stalkers blink forward again, focusing down some of these Vikings. The Vikings doing their best, but there's the GG. Classic cleans them up and closes it out with more Colossi and carriers. Who needs anything else? Colossi and carriers. And a bunch of Stalkers. And some Immortals. He didn't even have Disruptors. I don't think we saw a single Disruptor in that series. And there was a Robo every single game. That's crazy. Damn. GuMiho almost had it. Almost had it, but Classic stays alive in the bracket.